Information. One of the key elements of gaining the upper hand in combat. And no one is more versatile in weaponizing that aspect more in the Kill la Kill universe than the Intelligence and Tactics Chairman of Houka Academy's Elite Four. I'm the Gentleman Vandal. I break it down so you can build it back up. And today we're going to be making a brand new design for Houka Inumuta's Freestar Goku uniform, Probe Regalia. Starting off, I think I should give some details on Inumuta's background. Houka Inumuta is the son of Akito Inumuta, a man who was supposedly never really around, so his mother had to accommodate for a fatherless household on her own. Houka would later discover his interest for computers in grade school, and after entering middle school, he would hack into the city's servers to change his personal record to live on his own. The situation with his mother is left unclear though, unsure whether or not she's still alive, so we can't tell if he left her willingly. It should be noted though that the wiki I got this information from never cited a source, so I'm unable to say if this is actually canon to the show or not. I still felt it was relevant though, so just take it with a pinch of salt. Fast forward to 3 years prior to Kill la Kill's actual story. Inumuta is now a freelance hacker breaking into highly secure servers to challenge himself, leading him to Revox. After trashing their stocks, he's immediately tracked down and confronted by Satsuki Kiryuin, who makes him an offer to join Houka Academy, where he would later become part of the student council. From there, he would be in charge of gathering intel and data for Satsuki from Ryuko Matoi's battles with the student clubs, as well as those from Nudist Beach. Come the sudden death runoff, where he would lose to Ryuko and Senketsu by way of forfeit to keep his uniform from being destroyed and salvage the data he gathered from his battle. He would then plan and provide sideline support to the other student council members during this Tri-City Schools raid trip, and he's shown to share the same amount of loyalty to Lady Satsuki as the other elites during the final arc. He's also shown proficiency in creating and modifying technology and combating life fibers, as seen with the jamming needles and assisting Iori in making the emergency rescue suction device. And that's just about it for what I can tell you about Inumuta's character, especially in comparison to everyone else. He pretty much gets the short end of the stick in terms of character development, and I think that might have something to do with the pacing of the show. With lightning-fast pacing like Kill la Kills, you can only give so much attention to characters that aren't the main ones. We have Ryuko and Senketsu, the main duo, Mako, Ryuko's best friend, Mikisugi, her mentor, as well as his totally not lover Sumugu. Then we have Satsuki, her main rival, her personal crew, the Elite Four, with the addition of Iori. Then we have the two main villains, Ragyo and Nui. That's 13 prominent characters to keep track of and develop within 25 episodes, so no doubt at least one of them wasn't going to get as much attention to detail as the rest. That isn't to say they don't do good on what we were given, it's just an unfortunate consequence of the cast's quantity. Inumuta is just one of those consequences, as we don't really get more than a surface level interpretation of him beyond the quick-witted computer. What the? I just imagined that, right? Anyway. Moving on to his Goku uniform's design, it's actually pretty effective in accomplishing what it wants to in expressing Kill la Kill's themes of liberation from subjugation. Uniform designs are normally used as either symbols of unity or conformity. In this case, it's actually used as both, as Satsuki Kiryuin uses the Goku uniforms to subjugate the lower class students at Houka Academy, similar to how Ragyo plans to use the light fibers to enslave humanity. It's a different story for the Elite Four though, who wear their Freestar Goku uniforms not just in reverence of their Lady Satsuki, but also in representing their united front in helping her to achieve her ultimate goal. It's why none of the other students are shown to be wearing a Freestar uniform in the show's run, as they are the symbols of Satsuki's inner circle and her most trusted allies. The uniform design can also be extremely useful in emphasizing unique traits that the wearers attach to themselves as a form of self-expression and individuality in comparison to others. In Inumuta's case, the technological aspect of his uniform is made apparent with the cyan cords extending from his collar and cuffs into the mini computers in his belt, which he highly values the safety and integrity of, evident by the spikes attached to the lids of the holsters. Afterwards, Inumuta can transform his Goku uniform into his Probe Regalia, of which he has 3 different iterations. His OG design, his Mark II design, and finally his ultimate configuration. Initially, I wasn't too impressed with these variations, but upon changing my viewpoint a bit, I started to notice a subtle narrative behind them, which I'll explain when we get to the new design. His OG uniform had him in a Tronics suit, while his Mark II transforms him into a low-poly game character. And in both of their appearances, not much is actually done with them in terms of effective combat, but I think that's actually kind of the point. Inumuta's whole skill set is reliant on deception to get the upper hand on his opponent, by way of well-timed sneak attacks with his real-time simulations, optical camouflage, and after-image decoys, all of which are meant to give him a short-lived advantage until there's nothing left for him to hide behind. He was clearly built as a supporting role for the other Elite Four members, as he demonstrates in the Tri-City School's raid trip, when he helps out Jakuzurate, even being the one to plan the entire assault to drag out Nuta's speech. That all changes with the introduction of his final Pro Regalia, Truth Unveiled, casting away all the deceptive tactics he employed before to become a full frontline fighter alongside everyone else against the covers. And as you could probably tell, he shares a common theme with the Elite Four, where they each have a Marvel character inspiration for their transformations. While his previous two transformations aren't as obvious, his Truth Unveiled form has clear nods to Spider-Man, right down to whipping out wires from his wrists to ensnare and electrocute his opponents. Now we can finally move on to the new design I came up with. As I mentioned before, I noticed a subtle narrative with each iteration of Inumuta's uniforms. In his OG look, he takes the form of an observer to a virtual reality. In his Mark II look, he's fully integrated into the virtual reality itself, becoming part of its illusion. And then, his Truth Unveiled transformation has him quite literally climbing out of the PC the same virtual reality was being held in, having uncovered the truth and turned it into power. With all of that in mind, I decided to take that interpretation a step further and turn the truth that Inumuta's found out into one that he would want to keep hidden, unsure whether or not it should even be shared. And it's for that reason that for his new Marvel inspiration, I went with a Spider-Man villain who was lesser known at the time before his big screen debut, the Spot. In Across the Spider-Verse, Spot goes from a level 1 to 100 threat pretty quickly, kicking himself into his own body and gaining multiversal travel. But that's not enough for him, and so he decides to kick it up a notch by recreating the events that led to his own creation, turning into a living multi-dimensional portal that could even tell the future by reading into the Spider-Verse's canon. This man is a terrifying eldritch abomination of his own creation, and is exactly what I want to aim for. So, in this new Pro Regalia, I made it closer to his Mark II appearance, but added some glitchiness to its structure. I added polka dots to his body to act as the vertices for its mesh, but some of them are attempting to move on their own. The 3 stars on his chest also turn pure black and elongate to wrap around his body, paired together with the texture to allude to a damaged PC monitor. I also added a type of dog cone that obscures his face as a reference to the color in his base form, and how it would open and close whenever he needed to talk. Only now it stays closed permanently to keep the secret he's hiding from passing his lips. He can no longer shoot wires from his wrists like he could with Truth Unveiled, but now he can create cracks in space that he can use to teleport and redirect attacks. And with that, I hereby present my rendition for a new 3-star Goku uniform for Houka Inumuta that I dub 3-star Goku uniform. Pro Regalia, Evil Untold. Thank you all so much for watching. Subscribe and hit the bell icon to be notified of other videos appearing down the line. And until then, I'm the Gentleman Vandal. I break it down so you can build it back up, and I'll... Testing. Ah, it's on. Log date, June 10th, 2019. My name is Shiro Iori. Before I began my academics at college, I used to be head of the sewing club at the now demolished Hanoji Academy. During my time there, I was dedicated to studying the existence and biology of a fabric-based alien organism simply known as life fibers, which were capable of enhancing their wearers' physical and mental capabilities. I was responsible for the creation of the Goku uniforms, a brand of clothing we wore at Hanoji Academy to attain previously stated effects, all in preparation for countermeasures for a certain event. Life fibers are also a parasitic organism. They rely on the vitality of their wearers for sustenance. And one mad woman by the name of Ragyo Kiryuin was seeking to fulfill the life fiber's purpose and create the Star Seed Cocoon Sphere Genesis, which would cover the entire planet in life fibers and explode, spreading out to the other parts of the universe to begin their parasitic process all over again. This was averted by the leadership of Ragyo's daughter, Satsuki Kiryuin, who wished to thwart her mother's madness. It's been 5 years since the day we graduated, and we've all pretty much moved on with our lives. Lady Satsuki, though, made it a habit to check in with those who were involved in the final battle. But lately no one has seen hide or hair of her. I tried to make contact with Inumuta and Jakuzure to know if they had heard from her, but neither of them are responding either. I don't know if I'm overreacting, and I actually hope I am. But I'm about to check in with them to see if they're all right. In the case that I'm right about this, I made this recording to let you know that if anything happened to me, do not come looking for me, for your own safety.